Somewhere along the way here, we lost the plot. Somewhere. By the way, hello, I'm Wiser. We're Over the Top with Wiser. And here we do wrestling discussions, wrestling topics. I even do how to book certain wrestlers, creating my own storylines. But today I just want to talk about CM Punk. And I just want to know, I don't know how I feel. I'm lying. How do you guys feel about CM Punk finally getting a chance to main event WrestleMania? For me, it's indifferent. I'm very, very indifferent about this. And it's because I followed this guy's career, I want to say maybe 2009, about 2009. Like when he first came into WWE with the long black hair and the straight edge and I'm better than you and that whole thing. Didn't really know who he was or didn't really know who he was. I wasn't really invested because he just didn't really look like, he had a different look, especially for that time. He had a different look for WWE. So I didn't exactly know what we were going to get from him. Now we take that and we go into him getting the ECW title and then a couple of WWE titles or world titles. All of it was meaningless. And I think that is because they never knew, or Vince never really knew, how to book this guy. It's like he knew he had a top star. He knew he had a top level talent star. A guy that can talk, a guy that can work, a guy that can put people over, a guy that can tell stories. CM Punk had it all. But I think it's because he didn't have a particular look that they never knew what to do with him once he got to the top. So let's fast forward. We go through the pipe bomb. We go through his series of matches with John Cena. They were actually a really good rivalry that he had with a John Cena. A historic over 400-day title reign. And then he runs into the roadblock, which is called The Rock. You know, I wonder if CM Punk's favor that he's going to ask of Paul Heyman is to give him The Rock on a silver platter. I wonder. But this isn't about that. We're talking about the WrestleMania build. I say all of that just to say, he's had some up and downs throughout his career, but I think it's because they just never knew what to do with him because he was never really the prototypical WWE type of guy. Fast forward to today where the landscape has changed and the types of talent that they bring in is vastly different than they were back in the day. They've gotten a lot more. It's like we got Temu WWE, but just with more talent. However, at the same time, they're not allowed to express their talent. They're not allowed to express their art. It's like they're on a ball and chain in WWE. We look at a lot of these guys and we're like, man, they're so much better than what we get. Why can't we get what we know they can give? It's weird. It's a WWE thing. It sucks. I know. Tell me about it. You tell me about it. These guys that you see, these guys and gals wrestling that you see on a week in and week out basis, and even a semi-monthly basis because everybody that gets a title is part-time. Tell me, you've seen them do way better than they're doing today, right? You've seen them work better. You've seen them bump better. You've seen them tell stories better. Maybe not so much in the promo department, but you've seen them tell stories in ring a lot better than they're doing today, right? We've seen that. So CM Punk fits into the modern era of wrestling. The problem that we have here is, could it be that it's just past Punk's time? I mean, granted, he's in his 40s, in his mid 40s, and CM Punk, if we got CM Punk from his late 20s, I'll even go early 30s. You take that era of Punk, you take best in the world Punk, and you put him in today's time, and you have a box office attraction that could rival a Roman Reigns. But that's not what we have. We have a really mundane CM Punk. We have a toned down CM Punk. We have an old CM Punk. Now, I don't want to shit on Punk. I was a big fan of Punk. I even had Punk merch. And I don't buy people merch, but I had Punk's merch. There's pictures of me and videos of me like doing interviews with wrestlers in CM Punk merch. I was a fan of my daughter. I got my daughter CM Punk merch. I was a CM Punk fan, needless to say. So he finally gets his WrestleMania main event, the thing that it's pretty much a storyline that he's created within his own mind since the 2011 pipe bomb. And I can't help but just feel underwhelmed. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, am I the only one that's on this journey? Are you guys on this journey where you follow Punk, you was a fan of Punk, you was happy that he came back, even though You know, he had the hypocritical promos between AEW and then coming back to WWE. The promos were a little bit hypocritical in terms of company treatment and also, you know, just how he views his personal time in the wrestling business. CM Punk worked his way up once he got back into the WWE. He got into the good graces of everybody. He's no problems. He's helping out the guys and gals in NXT, especially the gals. He's a model citizen in WWE right now. CM Punk is exactly who Vince McMahon wanted as far as a babyface when Vince was there. Still not the look, but the attitude and the way that he approaches the business is exactly what aligns with Vince McMahon. His feuds have been good with Rollins and Drew, and he's built himself up as someone that people can get behind as a wrestler. But do we fully get behind the character? Like, I just feel indifferent. I don't know how to feel. Like this, speaking of Phil, hey, yo, pause. All right. So I just don't know how I feel about this, because on one hand, we've seen him do better. On the other hand, we know that he's very limited because of age. Then we also have to look at, you know, the injuries. He's gotten over the injuries. He's fine. But then again, he doesn't wrestle all that often. But who does, right? Who wrestles all that often? You know, you might get 1.5 Punk matches per month. That's what you get. But somewhere along the lines, we lost the plot. Is it because it became too, I want a main event WrestleMania, I want a main event WrestleMania? Like, they just kept shoving it down your throat instead of, okay, we already know the story of Punk wanting to main event WrestleMania, not getting a chance. Even when he was at his hottest, he had to wrestle in the mid-card against The Undertaker. I was at that show. He was the champion at WrestleMania 28, where he had to wrestle Chris Jericho in a street fight match, and it was in the middle of a card so that John Cena and The Rock could main event. Even while he was champion, he wasn't even main eventing the regular pay-per-views. Like, it was a mess. But the story of that was there. He was underachieving as an overachiever. He was the man, but never treated as the man. We know the story. We were there. So for this WrestleMania build, they decide that they want to continue to remind us and remind us and remind us, hey, CM Punk wants to main event WrestleMania. We know, we get it. We know the story. So instead of letting it organically happen, and they constantly remind us, now when we get to the contract signing and Paul Heyman and Roman says, hey, it's in there, it's in the contract, go to page 4, section 5, you'll see it. Hey, Paul, smarten him up. And he sees that he gets his WrestleMania main event. See, wait, time out. Whoa, why does this feel underwhelming? Why does it feel like it was just thrown in there out of the blue? These guys were at each other's necks for the past couple of weeks. Now Roman's laid back. He tells Punk, hey, what you want is in that contract. I guess thank you for Survivor Series. Paul Heyman, hey, you finally get your moment. Kiss on the forehead. Mafioso style, maybe, hopefully. But it just felt anticlimactic. Now, granted, we have Seth Rollins on the other side who looked like he was ready to crash. Love me a good crash out. Y'all love a good crash out? I love me a good crash out. But it felt underwhelming. Maybe it's because they've been pushing it down our throat, no Diddy, that he's been wanting this WrestleMania main event. Or maybe it's because there was nothing on TV. There was nothing amongst the trio in which they were trying to vie for the WrestleMania main event. Or maybe it's because they're not telling the story of how we got this match to become a main event. Are they really going to be as lazy as just to tell us, well, Roman's the guy, so, you know, he still has some sachet, even though he's not the champion anymore, but he still has pull and he could, you know what I mean? Like, tell me something. Did Roman have to screw over Jay, or did Roman have to get a favor from Jay to make this match main event? Did Paul Heyman have to tap in with The Rock because The Rock is still bloodline? Did he have to tap in with The Rock to pull some strings to get, tell me something? Or, am I jumping the gun? Am I too early on this and I need to wait and play out? I need to let Triple H cook. I need to let it simmer. You can't fault me for being impatient, because we've been letting Paul simmer this WrestleMania build for months, and it's been absolutely garbage. It's been garbage. It's been trash. So excuse my impatience, but this is where we are now. This is where I am now. I don't know how to feel about CM Punk getting the WrestleMania main event. The younger guy that's inside of me is happy for him. We finally get the payoff that we've deserved since 2013. 12 years later, we finally get the payoff. Maybe it's a moment too late.